Fourth, we have the mastery of philosophy. Now, I don't mean that you need to become a full-on philosopher, but you need to have your own ethos, right? How you do anything is how you do everything. First one is consistency in ideologies, right? Like, if you have any cognitive dissonance, it's wise to point them out, to see what is, what is this cognitive dissonance, and why do I have this? Because this will also play out in your trading. Guys, all of these are 100% directly related to your trading. So this is not me being a life coach, although somebody indicated I maybe should become a life coach. I'm not interested in that. There's enough great life coaches out there. But specifically in your trading, consistency and ideologies. So like, what does that translate to in everyday life, right? Is, okay, I really am a big believer in health and wellness, but I also smoke cigarettes, right? It's like, and then somebody calls you out like, well, why are you smoking cigarettes? Like, I thought you were a big believer in health and wellness. Oh no, the brain does this thing and it twists and it distorts to fit a narrative that I'm after, that suits me, right? Oh, well, yeah, well, like, I exercise a lot, and who's heard this actually before? When you ask a smoker, like, why do you smoke? Oh, well, look, I exercise really well, and I drink lots of water, and I eat really clean. I don't drink alcohol. Like, I'm okay. Like, we all have to have our own vice, we all have to have something. And it's like, do you? Really? If you really, really believed, truly, and if health was your number one priority, you simply wouldn't smoke. You have some cognitive dissonance there, contradictory ideas. So how does this play out? Consistency in ideologies. It's like you do something and you believe it, and that's just because I won't stray from it. That's just who I am. Like, the philosophy is basically who I am. I do what I do because that is who I am, and I won't stray from that. This is where a lot of people struggle. It's like your trading plan. This is how I trade because this is my trading plan, and that's how I'm going to trade. Like, it's kind of as simple as that, but it's not always as simple as that. You premeditate these ideas, and you maybe even spend all day, and you have the beautiful trading plan, and you put the decorations on it, and you make it a little flow chart, and it goes from point A to point B, and it looks all good, and it's all beautiful, and then it gets to the time, and that's your ideology, and that's what you believe if you were to follow the steps. But it gets to that time, it gets to the moment that you go to execute. And we saw this quite a lot on a trend chaser set up yesterday. Now, I haven't seen everybody's trading plan, in all honesty. I don't know everybody's specific ideology, but I've made mine very bloody clear. Fixed stop loss, fixed profit target, never any manual or discretionary exits. That's it. That's how I'm trading it. That's the data I've collected on it. That's how I'm going to continue trading it until I have evidence to prove otherwise. Discretionary exits or bailout methods, things like that. I don't have any of that pre-planned because I don't have the data on it. Now, the strategy was released less than a month ago, so I assume most people don't have data on it. Yet, however, we saw a lot of people that bailed out on a trade early because they either got fearful or it got very close. It danced around the profit target by like a pip, and I was watching it as well. It got up there, got like less than a pip to the profit target, pulled back. Ran up again, less than a pip, pulled back, and then pulled back quite deep. And then maybe people bailed out there. I don't know exactly where everybody bailed out. And then it turned around and it ran up and it smashed through the profit target, and profit was secured. I'm not going to tweak or massage, or like maybe one of your ideologies would be, I don't make up rules on the fly when I'm live in a trade. Like, maybe the bailout method or exiting that position early would have been a good option. And maybe over 1,000 trades, it actually works out better than having not done that. But I don't make these up on the fly. I have to come up with the hypothesis, maybe write down explicitly what the alternative would be. Like, if I'm within 10% of my way to the profit target, then I will elicit bailout entry, which is kind of what we've done in the day trading in the playbook strategies. Then I'll initiate bailout method phase, which that needs to be A, B, C, D. What is okay? Now we're in bailout phase. What does that mean? What do we need to see to exit? I'm not going to make that all up when I'm within a couple of pips of my profit target. I'm not just going to exit willy-nilly. I'll go and I'll gather all the data, and I'll go and I'll see, okay, does this work out better or does it not? Acting accordingly, that's congruent with your initial ideology. Now, if you're straying at all away from that ideology, then you're just acting impulsively, and you're not, again, the mastery of philosophy. You're making up things on the fly, and you're changing your trading plan, tweaking, refining, just at a whim, at a drop of a hat. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is what fuels and creates the technical chart patterns that we see. Fear and greed, right? There's the traders who can't maintain and sustain that philosophy. I consider that still different than discipline. Sticking to a trading plan obviously requires discipline. but I think it's more of an identity thing. You really need to be, I don't do this because that's not what I do. I'm gonna go on one more little side tangent, one side example with a trader that we're gonna hear from in a moment, but another analogy that I used in the past, it's like making the decision, let's say you're married and you're in a very loving relationship and you've got, like I've got a beautiful girlfriend downstairs, but let's say that you've got children. I actually learned this from a comedian, Bert Kreischer anyway, and he says, I never cheat on my wife. There was this one evening, or one Saturday morning that he's in bed with his wife and his 2 daughters, and he's like, you know what, this is incredible, this is fantastic, this is what living is all about, this is life, right? He loves his family and he decides, you know what, and it's funny that he had this conversation with himself, but this is what people need to really do, to really solidify it. He says, I'm never going to cheat on my wife. Like, this is such a beautiful, I don't ever want to jeopardize what we've got going on here when things are good. I'm never going to do anything, I'm never going to cheat on my wife. He had that conversation with himself, that commitment. And, you know, it's an easy kind of conversation to have at that time when everything's going great. But then when you get put in the situation and there's that handsome man or beautiful woman at the bar who, you know, you feel some kind of chemistry there with, and you're like, oh, you know, it would be so easy now to go and do something that's incongruent with my ideology, and then you've got kind of this battle that wages inside your own head. You could maybe even go and do the wrong thing and get away with it, right? But the damage and the risk that gets run is once you do it once and you get away with it, like cheating on your wife, to me is the same as cheating on your trading plan, right? And I consider that to the same degree. I take it very bloody seriously because you do it once, you do it twice, and it pays off. Like, the worst thing that could happen is you cheat on your partner and they never find out. You got all the oxytocin and the dopamine and the serotonin. You get the whole, you know, assortment, the old chemical rush there. The next time you're going to be chasing that high and you're going to be wanting to do it again, and then it's a slippery spiral down. The more you do it, the more you do it. That's why the only way to not ever do it is to not ever let it happen. Mastery of philosophy, those are tightly intertwined. If you are somebody who does tend to do wrong, to lie to your friends and family members, to steal money from your wife's or purse, or to do any things that you know is a negative ideology, that will play out in your trading as well, like skiving off, doing the skeevy thing that you know you shouldn't be doing. If you identify somebody who, oh yeah, I'm a little bit of a skeevy weasel, that'll play out in your trading. So what I love about trading is, and I'm going to wrap this point up here because I know I'm going on a bit of a tangent, but is that I genuinely think it makes you become a better person. Now, when I was stockbroking, that was not the case, because stockbroking and being an actual professional trader are very, very different things. That was probably one of the most skeevy workplaces I ever worked in. It wasn't kind of the environment that was a good birthplace of becoming an actual solid, well-poised position trader. So that's what I'm talking about. How you do anything is how you do everything. Resistance to whims of others. So this is kind of going back to that agreeableness point from before on the big 5 personality traits. Yeah, so the whims of others. I know what my philosophy is. Whatever your philosophy is, fair play to you. But you gotta know, yes, everybody bailed out on this trade, or nobody bailed out on this trade, or whatever. Everybody else is compromising their trading plan. Doesn't matter. I'm going to do exactly what my trading plan states I will do. Likewise, all the people on YouTube are saying that technical analysis is a scam and it doesn't work, and that I'm lying to the public, saying, you know, some crazy shit. Some of the comments I get on these Facebook ads, oh my golly gosh. And I'm like, well, it does work because I've been doing it for 10 years and it works. So, you know, that doesn't mean all of a sudden I'm going to shut down ProTrader because of the opinions of other people. You know? Infatuation and resentment oscillations. This is one that we see quite commonly as well. Infatuation and resentment oscillations. So that is elation, deflation. This is the pendulum. You're polarized. As a trader, you got to work on becoming more centered and non-polarized. Like, yes, I'm up over 10% in, I don't know, about 9.5% in like the last 9 days. I'm not overly infatuated with it. I'm like, oh shit, man, look at me, I'm best trader ever. Not at all. I know. I'm, like I said, I'm going to get chewed up a little bit in the next probably 2 weeks, or it'll be 2 weeks from now, it'll be 2 months from now. It balances out. It's the law of large numbers. I've had a pretty good streak, probably going to have a bad streak, but the bad streak plus the good streak still equals great result, which is what I'm after. I'm not looking for an epic result. And by knowing that, we're not overly elated, overly deflated. Just, you got to be minimizing that. You want to be bringing yourself centered, that there is ultimately, like Ralph Waldo Emerson states is like there's not really good or bad in the world. Like when you become fully centered and poised, it's everything has good and bad. It's getting a little bit mystical now, but just be wary of that. But do your happy dance when you get your first prop firm payout, when you make your first 10 grand, and have goals, have dreams, and when you kick that goal, awesome, that's so good. And really appreciate, give gratitude for these things. This is what is so great about gratitude, is gratitude and infatuation are very different things. You can be happy via the lens of gratitude, but not with the idea of infatuation. I am, no matter what, in 3 months from now, I'm going to make $1 million, or even not even necessarily an unrealistic goal. Like I'm going to pass my first prop firm challenge in 3 months from now, and it's going to be awesome. And I've already called my mum. I've already told her that I'm going to be paying her mortgage from 3 months onwards, so she doesn't have to worry about that. You're identifying, I'm a trader, I'm already a trader, and positive thinking and law of attraction is good, is all good stuff. But when you're so polarized one direction, when all the negatives come, like let's say you don't pass, or maybe you do pass, and you realize it's not actually quite as good as what it is. You can't afford your mum's mortgage because she's actually got a 5-bedroom mansion in the Hamptons and her mortgage is really expensive. You can't afford it. Then it swings back the other way with resentment. Best place to be is centered and poised. When it comes to trading, specifically a trading plan, you figure out what works best majority of the time, and you do that every time. So the quote is, do what works best majority of the time, every time. Because if we think that if you've got a whole life to live, if you're going to be trading like for the next 40 years, if you're somebody who overtakes, like I never overtake on my motorbike around blind corners. I just don't do it, ever. No matter what, I'm never going to overtake a car around a blind corner on my motorbike or in a car, in any vehicle whatsoever. I see people do it here all the time. And sure, they're doing it safely because they were pretty sure, they were 99% sure there was not another car coming the other way, but they didn't have evidence to back that, right? It was the dead of night, there's no traffic on the road, they hadn't seen any cars in 3 hours, and there's just this one here, and they're like, it'll be fine. But you know how many blind corners you're going to go around in your life? Thousands of them. So even if there's a 0.1% chance that there is a car or a truck coming around that corner and you have a head on, most people will take that chance. Oh, there's 99.9% chance nobody's going to be around that corner, there's not going to be a car. But when you apply that over 40 years to the philosophy, this is why motorbike accidents are so high. Like, well, not just motorbikes, but car accidents and just people getting themselves in these situations. The odds are against you. If you overtake around 10,000 times, around 10,000 corners, like a statistical probability that you are going to have a head on somebody sooner or later. Like those are not good odds. Yeah, but Luke, 99.9% chance there's not going to be anyone around that corner. It's bad odds across a large sample of data. It's the way that we think. So some things, do what works best majority of the time, every time, provided there's a profitable edge. And the risk of ruin of your account literally blowing up. Let's say that only once a year you put all your money on one trade, and that one trade is just to bank a 1 or 2 pip profit, and you got like a 1,000 pip stop loss, right? Most likely it's going to be a winning trade, and you double your money, or you make a really good profit there. But fuck, man, there's a chance, there's a small chance that that'll go and decimate your entire account. So that's not a profitable edge. It's not. Like, this is how a lot of these EAs trade, these trading bots. They'll do really great for 6 months, and then they'll wipe out your entire account. So anyway, this is from one of our members. I retracted the name here just in case they didn't want to share, but I think this is a personal message to me. Congrats on passing phase 1. I'm sure you'll pass phase 2 tomorrow night after the daily power hour. Lol. Just 3 TC wins. Honestly, you make it look like child's play, knowing which trade to take and when. Yeah, it's just having these systems, these philosophies in place. It's actually pretty easy when you're so binary. So yes, no, it's checklist trading, right? So anyway, I was so close to passing the prop firm challenge last week, closest I've been since my trading journey began. Made 6% in 5 trading days. I think this guy's been trading for even maybe a couple of years. So, yeah, and he's failed quite a few prop firms challenges in the past, but made 6% in 5 days using the pip snatcher strategy. That's from our ultimate curriculum. I was being very picky. Awesome. There were days that I didn't place a trade because the perfect setup didn't present. I was very disciplined. Great. That last trade I placed would have taken me over the line in 6 trading days. Awesome. But my mental game fucked me, and I blew the account within the hour. My first mistake was watching the chart like a hawk, and I became more anxious as prices were fluctuating. I let it get to me and closed the trade out with a small profit. But then the price mooned to take profit, And that made me angry that I closed too early. Exactly. So this is kind of similar to the setup yesterday. Like, I was dancing around, it pulled back, it closed it, fear of holding on to a possible loss. But again, our predetermined data, everything that we've researched in the past shows more often than not it is better to hold on to trade, even if it's looking like a loser, right? So it's having that philosophy, having that clear trading plan. Had he done literally nothing, if he hadn't taken that manual close, he would have passed that prop firm challenge. Bang. But the fact that he intervened cooked it, right? So being angry with myself, I started taking random trades with random lot sizes in hopes of hitting the 8% target to complete phase 1. They're now trading purely from their limbic system, their monkey brain. There's the dopamine, the cortisol, the fear, the greed, it's all in there. There's just a concoction, a crazy amount of neurochemistry going on here. Probably most of you have experienced this before. The best thing to do is walk away. You've lost it, you can't handle it, you don't have the emotional state is, you're not there. And you can only feel this from within. He says here, I could have just walked away with that small profit and wait a day or two for the next perfect setup to present and pass phase 1, but I let my emotions get the better of me. I know the golden rule of only ever risking 1%, not revenge trading and walking away to fight another day. After the loss, and especially when on tilt, but should have, could have, would have, sigh. As my master, can you advise what I avoid? What can I do to avoid these situations? It's so frustrating. I was going so well. I was so close. Sigh. And he went on to say in another message that, what if you weren't reading between the lines, he hit his 5% daily drawdown limit. He still was in, he's up 6%, hit his 5% daily drawdown limit. He's still up 1%, but they closed the account. They realize, and this is what these prop firms are on high alert for, so he didn't even get a free retry, just boom, your money's gone. And that's exactly what these prop firms are on high alert for. They don't want these kind of traders trading for them. Or not that they don't want these specific traders, but they don't want people who are predisposed or have these tendencies. So basically what they did is they said, nope, we're not letting you have this trading account. You've got some more work to do. You need to go back and work on your mindset and not go on full tilt, right? Look, we've all been there. I went through these journeys, these hard lessons before prop firms ever existed, which is why I hit the ground and nailed my first 4 out of 5 prop firm challenges that I passed. So this is my my reply. Congrats on making it as far as you did, man. That's a great win. What you experienced is a classic case of MSA, mid-session anxiety, which is totally normal with novice traders and is the most difficult thing to overcome. The only remedy is to build an ethos, a trading philosophy, and even a philosophy for life. Do what works most effectively, majority of the time, every time. Just like how lying, cheating, and stealing will work for a while, it all catches up to the person who uses these strategies in their daily life. I consider violating my trading rules as the same magnitude as lying to my best friend. It's not only breaking a promise to yourself, but the worst case scenario is occasionally it actually plays out favorably. Why that is so destructive is that each time it becomes easier and easier, resulting in a spiral down that is incredibly difficult to come back from. That's why there must be a zero tolerance. In your case, you're actually incredibly lucky that you bombed the account. There's an invaluable mental scar, that's what I quoted here, that has formed that looks something like straying away from my trading plan equals pain and failure. That's a fucking fantastic lesson to learn. Sometimes you can only learn these lessons the hard way. Lean into that lesson, ponder it, meditate on it 10 minutes a day, every day for the next 30 days until it's hardwired into your unconscious belief system. What you were doing up to the point of reaching the 6% profit, why would you go and change it at the final sprint? Logically, it doesn't make sense, but when our limbic system is overwhelmed with an emotional impulse, we're no longer in control and need to step away from the charts entirely. In conclusion, the mental game of trading is so difficult that most people fail dismally at becoming professional traders. Great news is, it's not so hard to get ahead of the pack by putting in the effort to getting your head game right. It's not that hard to master. Most people just unconsciously avoid it like the plague because facing your own inner BS head on is scary and too painful for the majority of folks. So yeah, that lines up specifically with philosophy. Many of you here are probably masters in one or more of these fields, but you have to really master each of these. So I'm going to ask you all, I'm going to go through each of the 5 again, or hopefully you've been writing them down as we go. But to go and rank yourselves, personally, you can do this as your own personal exercise. To rank where you're at, like what's your philosophy like? Is that out of 10, right? And then what's your health like out of 10? And what's your mental game like out of 10? And then finally, mastery of trading.